All right, we're back at it. Memphis Grizzlies time. Um, Away from the grit and grind Grizzlies, this is Jah Morant's team. Jah Morant, someone who took the league by storm. I always talk about in these videos that the athletic guards usually come out the gates a little bit harder than the unathletic guards. And I think he exceeded everybody's expectations coming out of Murray State. Um, there's been a lot of talk this preseason that he's become a better player, and it's just evident. I haven't got a chance to watch his games. I did notice in the highlights that he did gain some size. While he was this athletic freak, he was someone that was a little bit slight. So his development is the key to what this season is going to be for them. You also have a injury to Triple J that he sustained in the bubble. I'm not sure when he's planning on returning, and I can look that up now. But he's one of the more unique players in the league with his size, his length, built like a condor. Says he won't be ready till he's not going to be ready to start this season. So there's no real timetable for either one of them, him or Justice Winslow. That's another player that I was interested in, and I'll talk about him more down the line. But he's an interesting player because he has this length that I talked about. He can shoot it out to three. Obviously can drive, crazy athletic, doesn't rebound at all, like 6 rebounds averaged. So I was looking to see whenever he does come back if he can give them that presence where he can be dominant inside, not just this, abnormal, because it's nice to have his skills and abnormalities, but you got to rebound. Yeah, you have to do the big man things. That's the cool thing about the big men that have those different skills, that they have the different skills, but they can still rebound. So I look for him hopefully in another year of season and hopefully gain the strength that he could become a more dominant force down low for them. Justice Winslow, they have a big hole at the 3 position. Bigger wings they had trouble with. He provides them not only defense on players of that ilk, but he also provides them the ability to guard guards and point guards. This was a very intriguing player. Thought he started to come on in Miami when he was allowed to play the 1, and then he got hurt. Unfortunately for him, he's just been snake bitten these last couple of years. So he got hurt and obviously traded to Memphis. I think when he's fully healthy, he's probably pegged in as their starting 3. So interested to see him, his playmaking. You never have enough playmaking. You have Dillon Brooks that starts at the other 2 guard position, at the other guard position. He's more of a scorer. You have Grayson Allen, who finally came on and showed some signs of life last year. I'm interested to see what his development is and what he can end up being, if he can be that scoring dynamo punch for them off the bench. Dillon Brooks, back to him. I remember he was in part of that ill-fated trade where they thought Marshawn Brooks, but it was really Dillon Brooks. And I hadn't watched too many of him, and I was like, what are they haggling about? Like, he's not that. I would do that trade for Dillon Brooks. What does it matter? But he obviously got better, his scoring punch, shooting, still a truly young player. What is his age? Dillon Brooks. He's 24, so he's still pretty young. So interested to see what becomes of him. Brandon Clark, another one of their big men that had a great rookie season, older player. So we'll see, what dividends and where he can grow. But he's still pretty young, 24 years old. You have JVal that just took another level. Started shooting threes in the bubble. Would look like a 20 and 10 lock him in night. He's like a bigger version. I mean, they don't have the same game. I wouldn't call it empty calories, but a lot of what I talked about. You know what? Actually, let me even not even compare him to Julius Randle, because I don't even think he needs the ball like that. He attacks the rim, offensive rebounding, putbacks, his post touches. You definitely have to guard. You have to have a man in the post for him. So it'd be different to call him empty calories. I think he's a useful player, especially in this era where you have Jokic and Anthony Davis. You have bigger teams. Just to have a big, he doesn't really help defensively, but um, a bigger guy who can get his in the paint is always valuable. So they added McDermott. I'm surprised by. Oh, that's not Jimmy McBuckets. Oh, I was like, I thought he got traded again. Yeah, I like this team. They have a lot of depth. They have Slow Mo on the team. They've been able to use him. They they have been able to use him in different ways. He's an interesting player because he's more of a 3 size, but he's definitely a 4 and 5. But he's very skilled, can pass the ball. You can never have too much intelligence in passing on the court at one time, and I think he definitely helps him out with that. Like when he was drafted, it was like he's Boris Dr 2.0, and I really saw signs of that this last season in the bubble. I also like Tyus Jones for them. He's a good gritty guard, good backup guard. This team has a lot of solid pieces. They're not bereft of talent or don't have any glaring holes. I looked at them as a Blake Griffin possibility team, but you have JVal, who's you would probably have to include his salary into it, and JVal is a very useful player. Maybe if they get a serviceable big back. Dwayne Dedman, I believe, is still unsigned. He got cut, and I don't think he got signed. So if you did trade JVal, you could maybe sign Dwayne Dedman. Yeah, he doesn't have a team, and I think he's a functional player. You could sign him and Blake, and you could even run lineups with Blake and Triple J, and it doesn't hurt your spacing at all. And Blake gives Ja a serious dive threat and just more offensive punch. I think they're missing that second scorer. Now that could be Triple J. That could be Justice Winslow. Like I'm that high on Justice Winslow that I think that he could ascend into that level where he's a pseudo all-star player. I know he wants to be that. When he was running the point guard position for Miami, it seemed like he really found his niche. He became a better shooter, especially at the corner threes. So I'm not writing him off. I thought he was actually a steal, all things considered, in that Iguodala trade. It's just unfortunate that the injury bug has hit him, but maybe this is the season that he turns it around and he starts becoming healthy. Another interesting subplot for this team is, they had such a great season last season. And now, there's expectations on the team. So how do they live up on the expectations? I remember watching them all season and thinking, hey, this is nice, but this is going to fall off eventually. And they never did. They got to that play-in game and they lost, but I was always thinking this was going to fall off eventually, and it never did. And how do they match those expectations this season when they're not going to sneak up on people? They're going to be the hunted. People are going to know they're coming in, and we got to play better ball. There's no catching people off guard. Is that in the progression of the team? Do you want that? Do you want it the other way, where it's a slow bubble and then you get there, or do you want the expectations out the gate? That's an interesting conversation to have as far as what they're going to do and what they're going to be. Um, um, I think that in the West, it's a bloodbath every night. So they might not make the playoffs, and it's not because they're a bad team. It's just the West is that good. Especially if James Harden ends up staying on the Rockets for an extended period of time. If he doesn't get traded quickly, even if he does get traded quickly, I did the Houston Rocket recap, and I'm very excited and high on Houston's potential and what they can be. I don't think that it's just going to be completely over now that if Harden does get traded, he's going to be traded for a valuable player. The rumors now are Brown and Pascal Siakam. Which the Siakam one makes some sense for. It makes a lot of sense for Toronto, given their timeline. They were just a gritty team, and you saw last year they just didn't have that one guy that they could go to continuously. And Lowry's going to fight, but to put it on him to be the number one scorer and to progress deep in the playoffs, that's a hard thing to do. But Lowry's on a 1-year deal as well, so maybe they could have it as a complete rebuild. You trade out him, you bring in Harden, bring in someone else because he is the point guard. You would have him and Vlant Vliet at the guard position, and then you would focus on other positions. But yeah, just back to the West is deep. Houston, all those teams that make it in last year. You have the Warriors this year. You have Phoenix, who I'm sky high on. You have Minnesota that has restocked its cupboard as well. So every game is going to be a bloodbath for them. But I don't think that anyone should take it in as a negative if they don't make the playoffs. As far as their most impactful player this season, I would have to go with Triple J. I want to see what he can become. Is he this, like I said, this anomaly? Can shoot threes, is longer, as long as all hell, but doesn't rebound at all. I think last year was at 6 rebounds. Or is he someone that can completely fill out his game and add more skills? Still a super young player. So I would say he's going to be the most impactful player, because if he does take that leap and become an all-star with Jah, then they're cooking with gas, and then they can make it. Most intriguing player for me is Grayson Allen. I hated that kid's guts when he was at Duke. He was tripping people and pushing coaches, and he's lucky he didn't get punched in the face by somebody. But I think he was having mental issues. I read somewhere he was having some behavioral issues, and went to counseling and got that shit sorted out. So as a player, I mean, the talent's there. It's bouncy, can shoot it, can handle it a little bit. The talent's obvious there. So for a team like Memphis, where once again you're thinking who's gonna step up and offer, some of the playmaking responsibilities, some of the scoring, take it off of Jah, a player like that can definitely help. As far as playoff opportunities, I definitely see them as, fighting to get into the playing game, fighting for one of the lower seeds. That could all change with a couple leaps with young players. They have young players with the pedigree and the upside to get into that all-star conversation. If, multiple one of them hit, then they'll definitely be in it. And then also, what happens if Jah takes this incredible leap? I'm eager to watch him and see what he does. So that is the Memphis Grizzlies. 30 teams, 30 minutes. I'm solo dolo. So when I do a solo dolo, I run it for about 15 minutes, give or take, and try to hit every team in the league. We're going to be doing this throughout the season. So by Saturday and Sunday, we'll have updates on every team in the league. Really excited for the NBA season to get back. It's great. Really great. I was kind of thrown off a loop when I heard the season was going to be snapping back so quick, but now that it's back, I'm ecstatic. So, Memphis Grizzlies, 30 teams, 30 minutes, get at us.